This here is the Oneplus Open. I've had this phone now for some time. At the time of this recording, it is now a year and a month old. This phone made a year in October 2024, and now I'm making this video so that I can share with you my experience of what it is like using this phone on a daily basis. How has it held up? What are the goods and what's the bad? This is a deep dive video, so stick around, bear with me. I'm going to give you, in the best way that I can, some pros and cons. Now, with that, before we start, I want to share some insight on, backstory on this phone. So I've been using this phone for now 5 months. As you can see, I have some app here that I'm tracking some dates. So yeah, used it for 5 months. I'm also tracking up to when it's going to get its final software and security patch updates here. And it is going to have some time until that, is no longer the case. Now, another thing I want to share is I actually bought this phone used. If you check out my channel, I have a video as where I make the case that, why it might be a better option to buy this phone used as opposed to a new OnePlus Open 12. Check it out if you're interested. But some backstory, when this phone came out, it was priced at about $2,000, if I'm not mistaken, give or take, plus tax. But when I bought my phone, I bought it for just under $600. And so I've saved a lot of money buying this phone now. There's some caveats to buying that. Again, check my video that I mentioned on the channel. But from what I can tell you is in the time of using the phone, so yeah, that was there because I had no inner screen protector, and I actually applied one, and I think I probably applied too much pressure. But anyways, other than this dot here, I honestly was like very interested in using a foldable. Didn't want to pay the premium price tag. And what I can tell you is I've dropped this phone many a time, actually. I have several cases that I've used, and I'm lucky enough that this phone is continuing to hold up. Anyways, with that, let's jump into the pros and the cons, what it is like using this OnePlus Open. Some pros. So the biggest pro for me would be that this camera system is just freaking good. When you talk about foldables in North America, what you have are the Surface Duos 1 and 2, and those are discontinued. And then other than that, now you're left with the Z Fold line, as of now, you have the Z Fold 6 or the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, I think is what it's called. Really bad name. And then you have this, right? And technically, the OnePlus Open is actually a version 3 because in China, they released this under the name, the Oppo name, and it's the Find N3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but here in North America, it came to us in the form of the OnePlus Open. So technically a third generation. But yeah, anyways, the camera compared to the other foldables that I mentioned in North America, this one, honestly, I would say outbeats them in its video and camera. It really stands up with the latest iPhone, Samsung, and even Pixel phones. If you don't believe me, go ahead and check up some other videos on the channel. Not my channel, apologies, other channels on YouTube, and you'll find that they consistently always still compare this phone with the foldables now. And let me tell you, this camera phone is great. I will try to put some samples here so that you can view what I'm referring to as far as what video looks like and what pictures look like. It's just been a great experience. And actually, I had the OnePlus 12, switched that out because I didn't like how the front camera has this lighting issue. Here I am. And so the selfie camera is honestly not that great as well. But the reason why I got the OnePlus Open was because you can use that feature where you unfold it, and now even though the front camera here sucks, you can use the rear for video and enhance selfies. So that's really why I got this phone used. And yeah, and so even though this is going to give out, one day it will, because that's just the way foldables are, at least I'll have this option to be able to still use that nice camera system for selfies as for rears too. Another pro that I would say is the reliability. It's kind of weird that I have to even say that. And what I mean by reliability is how is it usable as a phone in terms of, its connectivity, battery, and call. And, in the past, having used like the Duo, I love the form factor and multitasking. That actually had some issues in connectivity. Samsung, they're really reliable. There's some things I don't like about Samsung's, notably the skin tone processing and the skin smoothing. You don't really get that as much here. It's again keeps up with iPhones, Pixels, and then Pixel phones. I've used the Pixel 7, and in my experience, just very unreliable. Like the phone is now what, seventh generation, and when I used it, I saw degradation after 3 4 months. The battery was just giving out. I couldn't really depend on it to take interview calls. It would overheat. You get none of that with this phone. This phone works great, and so I love that I can rely on this phone. Third thing I would say would be the foldable aspect. Yeah, like with any phone that's foldable, you can do things that a slot phone can do. It's just that you have things like reading that just look much better. You can hold it and like a book. And so I've done a lot of reading, sold my Kindle, and this is proven to just be a nice, all-in-one kind of device where now I can just read on the go. Games too. I was playing a little bit of Dead Cells. I'll load that up for you. So playing some games is really nice. You take advantage of the screen real estate. It's just gonna look much more bigger on a foldable than it is on a slap phone. And yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, I guess you can get one of those pro controllers and then have a really nice little gaming system. I do occasionally gaming here and there, so um, yeah, it's I've really only played this, maybe some Call of Duty. I'll uninstall it here and there, but when you do load up a game, it's just really nice that I could have it in this kind of uh, big screen. Look at that. See, it's really cool. Of course, you can play this on a slab and it'll work. And obviously, I'm not doing great because I'm looking at the recording. But yeah, that's what gaming looks like. I will admit though, even though foldables are cool and you can get that kind of big screen going, it's not all perfect. And this goes for all of the foldables at the time. I wish that viewing content was better. You could have it in either orientation here, landscape or portrait, whatever. You're still going to get those black bars. And then you could do the whole pinch to zoom, but you're cutting off content there. That's a real bummer for me personally. It's like, why have that? I wish they would fix that. You're kind of better off just viewing your thing, your content like that. So that's something that needs work. The next pro I would say would be that it's a flat screen. Like I mentioned, I had a OnePlus 12, and I did not like curved screen phones just because you cannot get a tempered glass installed. But this is completely flat, so I mean, there's not much to be said there. I like glass, and I throw my phone here and there, and curved screens are just more prone for damage. So I love that it's flat. The last pro, personally, that I saw is the ability for dual SIM. So if that's something that you care about, getting your two SIM going on there, you could do like an eSIM, or you can have like your business personal. You have that option. Pretty cool, right? Anyways, those are the big pros. Now, the review wouldn't be honest if I didn't give you my faults and the cons of this phone. And what's funny is, as much as I love this phone, there's actually a lot of things that I wish this phone could do better. Starting with customer service. So I can't speak to customer service because I bought this used, but my brother bought a OnePlus 12. There was some weirdness going there where they were not following the whole trading program. Anyways, customer service on the OnePlus side seems to be the worst when it comes to phones. Pixel has had its fair share of scares with sending phones with no OS, but when you go on Reddit, just read the horror stories there. It's really, really just scary. And so if you do love OnePlus that much and you love to buy a new phone, just be wary that you might run into an issue. If this foldables the way they are and how they break warranty, sending it, I've read really just a lot of stories of people sending phones out and having them out there for 4 or 5 months, whatever, they're being returned, and it's just not that great. So that's a real bummer. I wish OnePlus would do that, a better job there. Another job that I wish they would do better is in improving the schedule of updates. So let's go into the system update. and check something out. So here you can see that the last update received was the October security patch for October 5th. The funny thing is I actually didn't get this until like last week, and so we're in November. So you're seeing that you're getting like a month lag of an update. Personally, I don't care because having used Pixels, I've noticed that updates aren't really much feature packed. It's just like an interface rehaul and then maybe actually introducing bugs. So just expect that with OnePlus, the phone that you get out of the box, you're gonna have to hang around there with it, with how it is. It's not gonna get a lot of features coming, and even the OS itself is less feature packed, and we'll go into that shortly. I'd say also another con is the link to Windows feature. So that's where you're gonna link the phone to your Windows PC, and then you can get some notifications. I'm not gonna do it now, but I've noticed in the time that I've used it that for whatever reason, when you do connect it to your PC, your whole home screen layout, it just gets white, and that's really annoying if you don't have a backup. OnePlus, please fix that. Very straightforward. I don't know why that's happening. Next, another con I'd say would be there's less multi-window fluidity control. And what I mean by that is when you look at Samsung Folds, the way that they have their multitasking, it just seems a little more cleaner, the way they've managed to do that. So obviously you can do a lot of multitasking the same way. What OnePlus uses is one Open Canvas, and you can click there or to use that app, or here to that and stuff like that. But and you could do this to switch the app and all that. It just seems like with Samsung though, it's just a little bit easier to navigate how you want your windows, and there's more control. Yeah, you can do the same. It's just a few extra steps. So I personally think the Surface Duo was my favorite in the way you could multitask, but it's not a deal breaker. But just know that like it's a little extra here and there to get the windows the way you want. I guess the biggest thing next would be honestly the lack of the features that Oxygen OS provides. Right now, this phone is on, let's see, it's on Oxygen OS 14. I believe at the time of this recording, the 12 is on Oxygen OS 15. But the funny thing is, even though those phones got Oxygen OS 15, there's promise of AI features, but the first wave of that update has not given them those features just yet. So I don't know. OnePlus is really lacking in providing features like other phones. It almost feels like Moto, but it's funny because Moto, I would say, even provides more features than the OnePlus. There's a lot of not originality here with the OnePlus in terms of its OS. A lot of people like to say that Pixel is the Android of iPhone. I think that OnePlus is actually the iPhone of Android. In fact, if you go onto forums, hardcore OnePlus OG fans will say, how its identity has changed and how it's always copying Apple. And I could see that from what I see on iPhone videos. I personally don't mind it, but it really is trying to copy out Apple. Look, there's the alert slider. I love that. There's things that like just the way the tones and the icon selection, they just try to make it look like Apple, but it's actually even more watered down. So let me talk about features. So if you're coming from Samsung or Pixel, very little. Samsung, you have your modes and routines, you have your decks, you have AI, and on the Pixel side, maybe a little less, but at least you have that a little bit enhanced AI in some areas, like the always listening to the music, the call screening, the voice to text speech. God, I love that feature. And here you're really missing out on a lot. So I made a list, and we'll try to go down on as to what I found is in OnePlus. So start off the bat, if you go here on this icon, it takes you to this little like red cable club. Never used it. It really is to me meaningless. I mean, if you want to, again, deal with OnePlus customer support, just be warned. And I would not do that. But next, you have like your Wi-Fi assist. You can scan the Wi-Fi with a QR code if you wanted to. Never use that. Kind of cool, I guess, whatever if you want. There are like other little Wi-Fi features like connecting to two networks, either like a mobile plus a Wi-Fi, and boost your connectivity, or connect to two Wi-Fis and you're boosting speed there. Never really used that. Don't even know if that's unique in other phones, but leaves me wondering why you would add that anyways. Smart 5G, you can get your phone to be able to switch to 5G, 4G. Somehow the phone is able to do it in a way that will save battery. I don't even use that. I just tell my phone I want 4G all the time because 5G will be a battery drainer. There's a multi-connect feature. More to argue how this phone is trying to be like iPhone, where if you had the tablet, you can connect your phone and then the files will kind of like seamlessly transfer. Reminds me of something like MacBook and an iPhone would do kind of there. Never used it, don't have a tablet. There's a screencast feature, so if you're familiar with like a Chromecast, you could, if you have a device like a TV or monitor, display this phone onto a TV. It's neat, but again, I've never used it. A lot of people like this here. Nope, don't know what that is. IR Blaster. It's all right. I mean, I have a Roku TV, so I just use the Roku app, but I guess a lot of people will like that. I don't really care if it doesn't have, does or does not have an IR Blaster, but people love that. Kind of feel like it's been taken away for so long that I don't care. Edge lighting. This is something I guess that you can have the phone light up in some colors if you have notifications. It doesn't really matter to me. Don't use that. Again, I'm just telling you from my opinion what I think about these features. Maybe you use them, but I honestly feel like Samsung and other phones have way more useful features. Screen refresh rate. If you care about the way your screen looks like as far as high and all that, I just keep it on standard because I want to preserve my battery. There's a Dolby Atmos, so maybe if you're like coming as an LG user and your sound is a big thing, I know that LG was big on sound for while it lasted. RIP. You could do that. I just keep it honestly set as is. I don't really care about the sound. There's more sound like stuff like spatial audio. I leave it off. See, I don't know if that's a battery drainer, but I don't care to use that. There's also System Cloner. This is like a version of OnePlus where they have it so that you can have your fingerprint and then locked to a specific kind of like profile. It's, I'd say, original, but honestly, in some way, I feel like it's kind of useless because there's already a built-in multiple users profile that you do with Android, and you can even have that profile set with the stock, like a fingerprint security. So, to me, I just feel like System Cloner is not really, it's pointless to me. There's Zen Space. This is original, but honestly kind of useless. Yeah, pretty useless to me. I feel like you can kind of get this kind of Podomo focus kind of thing going with a app on the Play Store. I'm not going to recommend any, but I don't use this. There is a kids mode. So if you have kids, you can, do that setup there. I don't know if it's better than other kids modes, but there it is. And then coming down the wire, we have the shelf. I really like the look of the shelf and how the widgets look. The one gripe and complaint that I have about this is like, why don't you add more? It reminds me of the shelf feature that Microsoft's launcher has, but here you can only use like OnePlus apps and then maybe like Spotify. It just seems useless to me. Yeah, there's like Race to Wake. That's probably something that Moto has. And there's like your double tap. Again, RIPLG. And that's pretty much all the features that were mentionable, in this phone. You have like some other AI features that are going to come out. But again, like we'll be seeing those in the future. There's also, as of now, there's like a, let me just put this out to the side. You could do a smart lasso for AI editing, kind of like Google does. And it works pretty well. But I just wish that they had more useful features. So another con I'd say is the limited of accessories because it is foldable, one, and then two, it's a Chinese phone. You don't really have a lot of case options. These are the ones that I came up with over the time of owning this phone. The first one I had was here. I don't even remember the brand, but you can get it on Amazon. If I find where I bought it, I'll put the link in the description. This one here I didn't like so much after a while because it gives you a nice little bump there and it's kind of uncomfortable. So pretty cheap. I think it was like 15. I don't know how much it is now. This here's next was the other one that I liked. It's Spigen. It gives you a lower profile. It doesn't give you any protection on the hinge, but my God, this thing is like 40 bucks for some plastic. It's ridiculous. I mean, anyways, it served me well. I like the feel of it, to be honest. And then more recently, now I got this, and this is like through an AliExpress. Not as low of a profile with the Spigen, but the thing that I like about this one is that it has that, you know, kickstand there, and it has here like a magnetic place. I took off a sticker because it was just like really cheap there. And then all of these cases give you like this little front piece. In all these cases, I'd say that this front piece is like, I don't even feel like it provides you much protection. It's very flimsy. Over time, it'll just come off. So that's kind of cases there. I don't have any sort of like pop sockets and things like that, but you know, with something like this, you should be able to, like, if you have a magnetic one, put it on there. And then finally, you know, the last couple cons, I'd say, backing up. So when you back up your phone, if you go there in this, you know, system, you go back up and reset, you go back up and migrate, local backup, right? If you follow these instructions, it'll tell you, you know, follow this directory path and then you'll find your backup. You can see that I have some stored on the internal storage of the phone, and I cannot for the life of me find that location of where the backup is. Other people have had issues too. In fact, the only way that I've been able to find these backup files is when I connect my phone to my PC. So that's the only way that I've been able to find that. I do not like that. I wish that OnePlus made the files accessible. If I'm doing it wrong, just let me know in the comments. Maybe others can find a way to do it better. But from what I read online, that's how people are doing it. Shouldn't have to do that. That's kind of ridiculous. If I do make a video about how you can find that backup file, just know that I'll leave it in the description. And then lastly, I don't like that this phone doesn't have a desktop mode. And now, that's a personal gripe of mine. I love Samsung DeX. I've used it in the past so much. I just feel that, like, when you're paying the price of a foldable, it should have that feature just to maximize the productivity of a device. It's just unfortunate. Maybe in the near future, it's something that'll come up. I know that Android has been working on that feature on the background, but, you know, it's still not there. Anyways, with that being said, I know there was a lot more cons than there were pros, but let it be known that, you know, when I say that this phone is great, it is great. Even though there are features, you know, I'm in a place where I knew what I wanted out of a phone. Nothing is perfect, but, you know, for me, it was really the camera quality, the reliability, and, you know, also the chance to try a foldable. The form factor here, you know, I hardly ever use the folding, you know, inner screen, if I'm being honest. It's because I'm just always using it like a normal phone. But when I do need that folding screen, it really is nice. So that said, those are my pros and cons. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, concerns, let me know in the comments. And I will keep you guys posted on my experience with this phone. And hopefully it continues to, you know, keep its life, because I've enjoyed it. And hopefully maybe, you know, you've enjoyed this video as well.